This is Bobby with Renaissance Game Supply. So kind of want to put a little bit of a disclaimer out there before I start on this. First off, I'm going to go grab a chair, but disclaimer is these robots are made by Magic Sorter. They're out of Italy, and what I'm doing is kind of altering a little bit of the chassis here, the front cover, not the chassis, sorry. And these are not manufacturer recommended repairs or tweaks. We'll say tweaks. There we go. So these are just my own, working with electronics for probably the last 30 years or so. I've kind of learned a few things. So these are my modifications to mine. I think it's a lot more convenient for me. So I'm going to share them with you and see what you think. But again, I mean, this might void your warranty. So if you're worried about that and you're not much into electronics and upgrading and tweaking things on your own, then I would avoid this. But anyway, let me go grab a chair real quick. We'll get that out of the way. So I start with this machine because I want to show you one that's already done. And then we're going to do, whoops, let's just kick the shit out of the tripod while we're at it. Let's get back over here. So this is what it's going to look like when it's done. So you toggle switch, that'll turn it on, that'll turn it off. What that does is it defeats the purpose of having to get down underneath the table all the time and disconnecting this cord and then looking up in here where you can see the light, and you'll watch your Raspberry Pi go out and then reconnect. So that kind of avoids that. There's something else I'd like to do eventually, and that is probably run this cord back through the body and kind of along the bottom here and out the back. Here we go. Out the back. So it's gonna look like this, but on the inside. Because I like my cords and shit on the back side. I can't stand it aesthetically, just kind of hanging out in the bottom, out in the front. I think it looks stupid. Anyway, let's get back into view here. So this is gonna be kind of a long video today. Here we go. I need to get one of them tripods that follow you. Anyhow, so you're gonna need a few parts. You wanna buy these ahead of time. You're gonna need togglers. Go ahead and pause it if you want. I get these off Amazon. So there's that. This Raspberry Pi camera, we're swapping that out today. Here's the back. Again, you can pause these to get the part numbers. You're gonna need a jack. This one here is a Keystone jack. And the reason being is you need that clip. Oh shit, hold on here. You're gonna need that clip. You can get these at Home Depot as long as it's Keystone. Home Depot, Amazon, whatever. There you go. Mine's Cable Matters, Keystone, Cat 6. You need these stop switches. I don't have a part number for these, but if you're buying this robot, you're probably well familiar. We're gonna replace that on another robot. And then you want these Cat 6. A lot of people call these RJ45s. I call them mod ends. Some people call them 8P, 8C. You can call them whatever the hell you want, but you're just gonna need one. Then you need the crimper for that mod end. Always have this Klein 27-in-1. Bam, look at that. Oops, wrong, I turned the handle. It's got all your different bits, and the reason why you want this guy. It's $27 at Home Depot, or if you want to buy it online, go ahead and buy it there. But the reason why you want it is because the bit you need is on here, and it's probably the one I've lost. I don't know, hold on. Yeah, it's probably the one I lost. So, but anyway, you're gonna want one of those, so you can lose the bit too. No, I'm fucking with you. Here it is. That's the bit you're gonna want. And as you can see, it fits these little chassis things. So super handy screwdriver to have. We're gonna go ahead and get it ready. That's gonna take that front cover off real quick like. So anyway, we're done talking about, whoops. Get in there. Why is it not snapped in right? There we go. You're gonna need a punch down 110 style. If you don't want that, buy that stuff like this sort of. If you don't want anything to do with trying to make your own cable, just let me know in the comments. I can make you one. You're gonna need a piece of Cat 6, just cut down. You don't need it this long. This was just laying in the barn, garage floor, or whatever. You need a square, because when you're all done messing with this, you have to square up the framing here a little bit. Little knife. You can use any knife. Just grab whatever. You're gonna need snips. You're gonna need these step bits. You can get these at either Harbor Freight, Home Depot. You can get them online. Don't spend $55 getting one bit. I think these were 15 bucks for a 3-pack, but you're gonna need one. And as you can see, you get your different type here. Then these are deeper ones. Don't recommend using that one because you can get stabbed in pretty deep. That one's smoked, but that's a 3/4 inch one. Anyway, enough with that. You're gonna need that to make the perfect hole for the round inside diameter of this toggle button, because you want it to push and snap in when you're done. Plus, you're gonna start off with a round hole, then you're gonna use that knife to square it up. Square it up. It's a rectangle. Just so you can snap that in through the side. Drill, doesn't matter what size. Anyway, so since this one's already done, we don't have to do the work to this. But what we do have to do on this particular one, and I'm gonna get out of view here for a minute, is on the back side, not per manufacturer's recommendations, we are going to take that and open that up on the back side here, and I'm going to show you what I mean. We want to be able to access that camera screw so we can get this bit through the back of that arm, because if you don't, you have to take that whole robot arm apart just to get to the screws to pop this off. And that is what? Horse shit. Yeah. Whoever said horse shit, you're right. It's horse shit to spend that much time. So what I did when I first got my robot is I drilled 2 holes in the back. We're gonna pause this and I'm gonna show you. All right, so you can see the 2 holes that I made. I think the manufacturer now comes with 1 hole, and they kind of put theirs in the middle. So somebody's paying attention somewhere. Anyway, I don't recommend you making your own, but if you're in a pinch and you need it done, I recommend moving your robot arm out of the way so you don't hit it. There's a belt on the back side here. So what I normally do is I just wedge something in there gently. And I don't have anything like that, but gently. Let's see. Normally you can stick like a little wood block, a Lego, a jack. No, a jack's not big enough. Not tall enough. I'm gonna show you what I mean here. Hold on. I have a socket. That could be the wedge. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in between the belt. And what that's gonna do is spread that belt like that instead of like this. That way you got room for the bit to pass through, make the hole bigger without kicking the shit out of your belt. That's the last thing you need. So lift your arm up, kind of move it forward so you got some room to work with. Bam, kind of drop it in the pocket. And yeah, my nose is itchy today. So put down a piece of plastic in here so all the shrapnel can land down here, and then you're gonna vacuum out your rail here when you're done. Hold on here, we're gonna find some plastic. It's the most unprepared lesson I think I've ever had. But we're trying to do it quick to save some time, because this is gonna be a very informative video. All right, we are good. So, we're just gonna open her up. And the big thing is you don't want that shrapnel getting down in this tray, so you're gonna have to vacuum it all up and everything on the card floor because it'll suck up into your pump, the vacuum, as it's picking up cards, and you'll probably have bigger problems. Wear safety glasses if you want. And hold your hand against that rail too, because otherwise you can push this thing forward, see? So I'm just holding it and going gently. Okay, so I'm through, but I want mine a little bit bigger because I'm kind of annoyed the fact that I can't quite get the angle to get in there sometimes. So just checking on the belt width here, we're good to go, we got plenty of room. We're gonna open up one more. We're almost there. And now the battery wants to die. What the hell? Just checked, it's 4 bars. It's some pretty tough material. I think that bit's smoked. I'm gonna swap that guy out with another one. I always keep a pack of those. Man, I use these things, I swear, daily. Okay. Here we go. And that is running a little bit because I like my holes nice and cleaned out here. I don't want any burrs. So just be careful of your belts. You can't stress that enough because that's a whole nother repair if you nick that belt. Alright. So we're done with the hard part here. As you can see, there's quite a bit of shrapnel there, and that shit is so fine. So get that out of there. The other thing too is get a vacuum. Any of those pieces that might have ended up down here, which is very minimal. I don't see any shinies, but I see a little here, and I know there's some here. So we're gonna take this socket out. We're done. We're gonna vacuum it when we're done here. So now what we're looking for is you're gonna lift your arm and bring it over. You're gonna match that hole with the back of the screw arm, with the screws here, which are right there. Okay. I think that's right there. Yep, there it is. So, as soon as you can find a screwdriver that I laid down somewhere, just like every other project I work on. Can't find the damn tools I need. What did I do with it? That's horse shit. Typical project. What in the hell did I do with it? Oh, there it is. Alright, so we get the correct bit. And what we're looking for is just trying to get in there. And you just want to take those screws off for that camera arm. I'll show you here in a minute. Save those bits, or save those screws because it's super tiny. Pain in the ass if you lose those. And they're kind of a pain in the ass to put back in, so we're going to show you how to do that too. But this is the fastest way to change this camera out. Oops, dropped my screw. If you don't have a hole in the back of yours, I highly recommend that you get one, or you find a friend or whatever that you trust who can put a really nice hole in the back without messing up your machine. But I'm telling you, you're gonna wish that you had that. I know these earlier generation machines did not have it. I know the newer ones do. So just be careful if you gotta do it. If you gotta make your own. So I like to take that off, and if I can, How did I do this? Maybe I don't have to take that off at all. Anyway, there's 3 screws on the bottom. There's your camera. See, sometimes these things can get damaged. Sometimes they're just out of focus. So that's the other thing. We're gonna have to focus all this when we're done. So go ahead and take your card out, or your take your little line cord thing out there. This is why you want this type of screwdriver, because it makes it super easy to change. If you get another style of a tweaker, as we call it in the industry, it may not have your Allen head that you want, so you might end up having to have several different tools. So get whatever's comfortable to you. Don't spend any extra money on shit if you don't have to. But if you like doing your own repairs, $27 is a nominal price here for such a badass screwdriver. It's literally my favorite screwdriver I've ever bought. I own one for the house. I own one for each of my tool bags for work, and plus I have one for this machine, so I was probably spending $100 on these things. Absolutely worth it. So this is what you're after. Remember, we went through to get to those 2 screws just so we could take this pie camera off. And then you got 4 more screws. So again, changing a bit, 3rd bit, you want that small one. Go ahead, hang on to those little teeny tiny screws, because I don't think there are replacements. Maybe your robot might have come with some replacement screws and stuff, I don't know. I've bought a used one and a new one, and I have a whole junk drawer full of spare parts from buying additional stuff, plus trying to repair the ones I've got. Buying a 3rd machine, or trading for a 3rd machine here pretty soon, so I'm gonna negotiate that deal a little later today. Now, this was a brand new camera before we moved to the barn, so I'm not entirely sure why it doesn't work anymore. So the other thing I noticed just now was the camera was slightly popped off here like that and kind of angled. So maybe that was skewing the view of the camera. But either way, I don't think so, because that's just a sticky back. That's just meant to kind of hold it straight on. I blocked the view here. That was meant to hold the camera straight on. That way it looks straight down instead of at an angle downward here, like this. Damn. Alright, so the problem is, the error message I kept getting was invalid camera or something, can't detect card. So when that happens, it's generally a bad camera. And they can become bad straight out of a box. So yes, it's super annoying. It's horse shit, as we call it. So this is your new camera with a new ribbon. I recommend using the new ribbon, and that is your camera adjustment tool. We're gonna need that, so don't lose that. Hang on to that. Even if you get an extra one, hang on to that. So we're gonna grab the new camera with no static strap, so that it can prematurely destroy the card, potentially, and we're gonna be buying a new card. So that's how we roll. Face down, camera, I think it went like this. So here we go. And we're gonna pop that guy back in place. Put these guys all back on. And these holes are very tiny. So you gotta just be a little careful here. Okay, there's that one. And what I try to do is get one just kind of in tight just a little bit, and just do the opposing corners. That way I'm not over tightening one side at a time. And these are small. Alright. Get them all set. Then we're going to seat them all properly here. One thing I always like to do is just hold it up to a light so you can see through the circuit board card hole and through the actual printed plastic. That way get a pretty good preview of whether or not it's lined up. Okay, we're almost there, just a little tight, not too tight, because it's not like it's gonna vibrate loose or anything. This is a metal screw into a plastic thread, so it's usually gonna have a pretty good grip. All right, so that's now done. So now what we're looking for is to reattach. You want to make sure the camera's down. That's what I was looking for. Making sure I'm not messing this up for you. Make sure the camera is facing downward. And it's got a little plastic tabby thing, so let's go ahead and take that off. That'll cover the eye. See that? And that'll actually mess up your camera calibration, and you'll get pissed off and think that it's not working right, and chances are you're going to have to get under there. If you can tweak yourself to get them under there at an angle and see that you got to pull it off, or you have to take the whole thing back off. So make sure you do that before you kind of reattach everything. And just kind of keep your finger off of it for now, because that's going to be just a kind of an exposed lens for a minute until we can get in there and adjust that. Alright, so while this is still loose in your hand, what you want to do is go ahead and insert your strip, and it's going to go into your Ethernet adapter, so just be careful. Alright, that's in. So that's what it's going to look like when it's all done. Kind of hard to see here. So what I do is I take my excess and I fold it back in. That way it doesn't scrape against the front chassis of your robot. Go ahead and tuck that in there. It does not hurt the ribbon. I asked it and it said no, it is good to go. So now what you got a bunch of wires in the way here, so you're going to have to be careful. Make sure you get your alignment back over here. Pull it up, get your cables and your hose out of the way, your vacuum line here. So I just pulled just a teeny tiny little extra. And this is where you got to be super careful, because you can drop these screws anywhere, and just keep an eye on it. Make sure you got to. I kind of preload my screw onto the head there. This is not magnetic. I kind of wish it was sometimes. So maybe I'll find one that's magnetic one of these days. Anyway, so I go ahead and I start. You're going to go through your plastic housing. It'll line up. It's kind of hard to see with the wires in the way. There we go. And then you're going to twist that right into that already threaded hole. Okay, we got one set. Again, don't over tighten yet. Get your other one preloaded. And what you're looking for is you're going to make sure everything's all lined up. Make sure you can see that daylight through that hole. Makes your life a lot simpler. And you're less likely to cross thread your hole. But if you do that, let me know. I've got a tool that can re-thread that. I'll share what the tool is, so just hopefully you don't do that. Alright, we're all tightened down. So you're going to notice that your camera thing is kind of cockeyed a little bit. You know, there's a way to adjust that. You could do that with some washers. If that annoys you as much as it does me, let me know. I got some ideas. I just put washers on the back end, not the front screw that's all the way to the left, but on the right. And what that does is it causes that arm, instead of it sitting like this, it'll cause it to come back straight. that's pretty simple if that's what you choose to do. It doesn't bother me enough right now. The other thing that does bother me is the cable kind of coming over and hitting and striking on the top of the arm here. So I might find out which one that is and pull a little bit of extra on it, because these cables are kind of tight, and it's going to happen. As time passes, this stuff is going to start tightening up. As you can see, I kind of try to get myself a little slack here, back up into the arm. It's getting a little tight here. So this is a good time to kind of take a look at those tolerances here and kind of get you a little slack where you can. You don't want to pull too hard, because this cable is only like 23, maybe 24 American wire gauge. Even though it's built in Italy, I still kind of use American wire gauge as a reference, because I don't know what the European wire gauge is. Don't really care. Anyway, so I'm going to pull a little bit extra. There we go. Yeah, that's what I want. So you need this. You need this spare slack. So right here, that way it can go back and forth and side to side and all that stuff, up and down. It's got a lot of movement, and you need quite a bit of room here. So we should be good. I don't feel any more tension on any of this. We got some good length here now too. Pull a little extra just to make sure. There we go, and there we go. Plenty of room to move around. While we're all unplugged, just kind of make sure your light bar is good. Make sure it's not loose. Make sure your stepper motors are not so tight that it's pulling the connections back out. In fact, this is probably a good time to just take it out, reinsert it just to make sure. Same thing over here on all your stop switches as well. Make sure they're all good to go. You got several stop switches, so just I always just kind of take them out and put them back in. That way everything's nice and tight when I go to fire it up, and I'm not going to have additional issues or unknown issues. And you got a front stepper motor here on the arm as well. Make sure you take that one off. You've got a stop switch down at the bottom here. Just kind of unplug that little guy. Plug that guy back in. And then we're going to straighten up the machine. We're going to level it. We're going to square it, not level it. It's already probably leveled. We're just going to double check all these stop switches. The machine will do that when it does calibration anyway. But I always like to just test the switches, because now is a good time to put these new stop switch boards in if any of them are faulty. Do it while it's unplugged. Just make sure it's nice and tight. Check on that stepper motor. Okay. Should be good to go. So this machine only had a bad camera, but I'm just double checking everything, and I'm tweaking that I've always wanted to fix. And what I do too is, when I'm done, whatever I did with that bad camera, I'll put it back in its box and then mark bad on it. I hang on to them, I don't know why, just in case. I think that maybe someday if they sit on the shelf long enough it'll fix itself. Probably not, but I just hang on to them. Mainly because that way if I forget the model number, I've got it. So we're going to set it over here. I'm going to mark it bad. It's out of my life like an X. So, not really. I guess I'm hanging on to it. It's not really out of my life. So I can already tell it's not square. What I'm looking to do now at this point is I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go get my vacuum, and we're coming right back. So I'm going to get these cards out of here. We're going to reposition back to its home position. We're going to pause the camera. and I'll return. Alright, we're back. We're back. Right now I'm just getting all the end stop cards here. Hold on, I'll show you what I mean. Just getting all these out of the way. Now comes the best part. The cleaning. Hold on, I think everybody knows how to use a vacuum. We're gonna be right back. Okay, we're back. And I cleaned the rail. That's why this is kind of moved now. So we're gonna put this guy back to its original position. We're good to go. We cleaned out all the shrapnel from the belt rail. We made the hole bigger on the back side. We swapped the camera. I've cleaned out all the dirt from all the rails across the top here. Cat hair, dust, styrofoam from packing, whatever. Just bullshit that falls in here, because I don't put the top on mine. In fact, I took that shit to the landfill and got rid of it. This barn is pretty clean. I usually try to keep all the pets and shit out of here. Spouses too. No, my wife is awesome. So we're done with this one. I did want to show you one more enhancement that you can do. I did it to mine just because I realized that, you know, when you have tensioners and belts and pulleys and shit, and it's only hooked up on one side, that it can eventually cause shit to do this. Inward or upward or downward or whatnot. It tends to skew that. So back here, where the manufacturer put a screw through here just to hold the belt pulley for the tensioner, I actually drilled another hole and put a long screw all the way through. Holds it. It no longer does this and fucks up with the tension of the belt and the motion of the robot being pulled across. So anyway, that's for another video. I know for a fact this machine over here has not had that tweaked under it, so I might do that on a future video. So we're gonna put this guy back together and move him over here, because it's this robot that we're gonna do all these other modifications to, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna put the camera over here and kind of show you what I'm doing with it. But I wanted you to see all this other stuff that had to take place with this one. So we're gonna dial this camera in once I put it over here, and then we're probably on a separate video, we're gonna do that one over there. Hold on. All right, we're gonna adjust our angle here. I think I am. There we go. So the robot is back in place. Turn it on. If you notice, you'll look down in here, you'll see the red and green LED. That means your Raspberry Pi is booting up. There we go. That's the word I was looking for, or two. So we're waiting, because what we got to do now is we got to square the chassis. Alright, there you go. Square has entered the chat. And what I normally do is kind of square it up just below the screw. Pick the arm up, move it out of the way, square it up over here too. We are now online, that's a good thing. So, it's pretty square. Just teeny tiny hair, there we go. Now we're gonna move this guy up out of the way, because this has nothing to do with being squared. And you want to do it right up underneath that screw over here too. That is dead on. Alright. So, we're going to go back to the home position. And what I do is I put the suction cup right in the middle where that card is going to be. Hold on here. And the reason being is it kind of needs to land in the middle. And that is pretty much dead center. Because you don't want your end stop slamming into the top of the card tower here. You don't want that hitting that. It'll shave it off, it'll break it, damage it, whatever. So then we're going to come down here, we're going to go into either system settings or troubleshooting. I can't remember which. Or maybe it's camera settings. So, this is why we take a USB dongle for mouse and keyboard and we jam it up into our Raspberry Pi so that we can operate with a mouse. Oops, wrong mouse. Here we go. I got 2 minutes of this shit kicking around. So we want to go to the camera settings, and what we're looking for is to start calibrating. Oops, wrong setting. System. Troubleshooting? Troubleshooting. Here we go. Camera test. Says it's working. Ah, there we go. See how it's blurry? It's looking in the pocket next to it. It's a little blurry, but the good thing is it recognizes there's a camera there and we got a successful test. Alright. So now what we want to do is go back to camera settings. I think. No, review images. Sorry. Jeez. Man, it's been a while. Camera settings. We're going to start calibrating. It's going to do its little test. And it's going to come over here and it's going to find a center pocket kind of to work with. We're going to stick a card in there. I know exactly which pocket it is because I've done this only once. Maybe once a week. Here we go. So we got the card loaded into the pocket. It's going to come over here and it's going to find the card. Bam, there it is. We're going to go to review images. Damn, that light's all blown out. Okay, that's okay though. We can tweak this shit. And what we're going to do is get that camera tool. We're going to find a place to stick this mouse for a minute. So this is your camera adjustment tool. It is keyed. As if you look into there very carefully, you will see that there's some plastic notches in there. And what that plastic notch will allow you to do, it's a little difficult to kind of get in at this angle, but you should be able to line it up on that lens. Hold on here. It's almost easier to be a contortionist sometimes. There it is. And what you're looking for is just make some small incremental adjustments. And you want this thing to start coming into focus. So I can almost read the name now. This light is blowing it out a little bit. Let me see if I can adjust this down, block out some more of that light. It's a really horrible light. There we go. There we go. No, that made it worse. Man, let me see if I can flip my blades up. There we go. So we can almost read the card name. It's still quite blurry. What we're looking for is that it makes sure that we can read the set name, the card identification in the bottom corner, and we're going to shrink down this field of view a little bit. So let's go ahead and adjust it a little more. Okay, I might be going the wrong direction, so we're going to have to go a different direction here in a minute, but we're going to do the shot. Let's go and try one more time. Go in the same direction. I'm going to turn it just a tad more. And you can feel it turning when you have that key on there. See, that's the wrong way, so we're going to back it out. Go the opposite direction here and go. Oops. It should be a nice sharp image once it adjusts. Okay. Might still need to go a little more. Sorry, I got cows in the pasture at the moment. It was just something weird when I saw them walking past. Let's see here. Let's get back on there. We're gonna go back the opposite way, just a tad more. Oh, that is not good. All right, so the other thing we can do real quick too, is go back in the other direction, and maybe we'll tweak the field of view first and see if it'll dial in the focus here. All right, that's kind of close. I can see the name. I can see the top of the card tower, so it's not quite looking here, it's looking here, it's not looking there. So let's make those tweaks real quick. Find our mouse. All right, so we're gonna leave that on like that. We want camera settings. And what we gotta do is we gotta play with the card offset, the card Y offset, the card X offset. We gotta do some cropping on the left and probably cropping on the lower and the bottom. So we're gonna play with some settings here. So let's do the card left crop at the minute, and we're gonna back it out 40. And we're gonna go back to the image and see if that adjusts. It doesn't look like it adjusted, so camera, maybe it's because I didn't save. Save, review image, and you should see it kind of cropped. There it is. Okay, go back to camera. We want to do card, where is the top? Card lower crop, card upper crop. There we are. That's all the way at 450, 440, 435, 435. So we're going to take it to 420. Save. Review image. Okay. It didn't really change much. So maybe we can back it out a little more. Maybe go to 390. Save. Review image. I haven't seen it update yet. Camera settings. Alright, we're gonna leave that a minute. We want to cut the card crop to the right here, so let's go to 440 for a minute. Save. Review image. Huh. We may have lost our live view here. Let me go back. We're gonna stop calibration. Okay. Review image. Yeah, see how it's kind of stuck now? Let's try and start this all over. Start. Review image. What we're going to look for is we want that to clear out. Okay, there it goes. Now I see it changing. There it is, adjusting to the shape, to the light. So we're gonna go to camera settings. We're gonna cut that top down some more. Card upper, here we go. Let's go to 360. Save. Review image. Okay, so I did notice some changes, so I can see the set symbol now, but I can still see the top of the card tower here, and I no longer can see the set name. So I think we're fine on the bottom, but what we're trying to do is trying to shave off some of this view. We want to cut off some of that top. I want to cut off some of that side, so that the camera is only looking at the card inside that pocket and not so much on the outside of that. So here we're going to do card left crop. Let's go to 380. Save. Review image. Okay. So that backed out a little bit. So we're going to go the opposite direction. Instead of going to 380, Let's go to 440, save, review. Okay, so that shifted the card back into the corner that we want. We can still see the set symbol. So we're gonna have to do some card cropping over here. So we got the side done now over here. We got the bottom done. So now we still got 2 more crops to finish. So we want card right crop, card left crop. Card left crop we just did. So card right crop is 460. We're gonna save, review image. We're gonna see what happens. Okay, that's the direction we want. We want to get rid of this. We want to see more of this, and we want this pulled back over here a little bit. So we're heading in the right direction. You're gonna have to do this every time you modify a camera. Save, review. All right. So now I can see the set name. I can see the set symbol. Still not quite focused. So now I'm fine with this, but what I want to do is get rid of this top. That's a lot of the top. Card upper crop. So we're gonna add. We're gonna go. We were at 390 before. We're gonna go to 405. Save. Review image. Bam. There we go. So I still want to mess with this a little bit. Right here. So that could be the card right crop that we're going to play with, and maybe that'll pull it right into view here. So let's go to 500. Save, review, and see how it pulled that out of view. So let's go to the left. I got rid of most of that card tower, so we're going to go card left crop. Let's add. So we're gonna go to 460, save the settings, review image. All right, so let's do a little more. We're not quite there. I wanna see a little bit more of this information. That's gonna identify the set and the card number and all that kind of sort of stuff. So camera setting, we're gonna go to 480, save, review. It didn't quite update. I think it did. I saw it flicker. So we're going to play with this. We got their set symbol. We got our set name and information, card number. And then all we got to do is finish the focus, and I think we're done. Then we're going to test. So let's get this focus dialed in. Sometimes that fits right on there, sometimes it doesn't. This is really kind of a unique position you got to get in to adjust this. Damn it. This is why I don't like doing the camera all the time. That's why I'll wait sometimes a week or so before I get motivated to do it. It's a pain in the ass. Alright, that's there. Let's try that. Okay. I can almost read it. The camera probably can, but it's just, I don't want to be able to see it from my own eyes. Alright, so there we go. This might be the last tweak. It's got a lot of light coming in through the window at the moment. But I think if it was darker, we'd probably be fine. Alright, I'm going to leave it as that because I can see the set symbol, I can see the card information, and I can see the name. And I think it's kind of froze on that screen again because I haven't seen it flicker. Like if I put my hand here, there it is. Okay, hold on. Okay, that's fairly crisp. Obscuring ether. I can see the name, I can see the set symbol. We're gonna leave it at that. I think we're done with this. So we're gonna exit out of the camera settings. we're gonna go back to camera settings. We're gonna tell it we're done. So stop calibrating. It should reset. Okay. And now what I'm gonna do is just kind of go through. Everything's good to go. We're just gonna check the firmware for the touch screen. It says it's correct, but we're gonna just write over it just to make sure. I like to make sure all my updates are done, caught up. The other thing too is there's some updates up in here. Once this reboots, it'll flicker and you can kind of go. But the other way is, if you got a wireless USB dongle in there, you can always, yeah, see, like here, sometimes your updates are up in here and stuff. So I like to go through and make sure all my updates are complete. I think we're good. I don't see anything that says I have to install anything. So there we go. It's improvements and features. Oh, look at that. See the robot 5.7.2. See? Look at that. There is an update because this one over here is 5.7.1. So the touchscreen's up to date and now the robot is too. So I think we're at this point where we can just go ahead and reboot the machine after the update. And then we're gonna load some cards in it. We're gonna see what we've done. We've done a lot of work. So if this is something you've been trying to get done on your machine and just been stuck and you can't get any support for it, I mean, save this video as your favorite. Just kind of go through and whatnot, just step by step. Get yourself super familiar with this whole process. You're gonna have to do it repeatedly through the lifetime of the machine. I am gonna go set sort. Let me grab some cards. Okay, before you load the machine, make sure you have your stop cards put back in place in each pocket. It's the first 6 pockets, as you probably already know. And I keep a spare in there because I'm kind of dumb. And sometimes I'll just grab all the cards and forget to take the stop card off the bottom of the pile, and I'll take it and mix it in, and a month later I'll find it. So I keep extras in there, like I said, because I'm dumb. And I'll forget to grab it. So anyway. And the other thing too is kind of make sure you don't have any like obvious dust, hair, bullshit, lint on your cards. Otherwise, it can get right up inside your vacuum, your suction over here. So the other thing I like to do too is just kind of do a good cleaning of that. And you can use like a little wipe or whatnot. Sometimes it's just dust on the cards. So we should be good to go. We're back online. We've updated the firmware. We've checked the camera. We've tweaked shit. So we're gonna ignore phone calls. So at this time we are ready to do a custom set sort. Oh my god, stop, spouse. So we're looking for Innistrad. Innistrad is, I think, group 7 or 8. There it is, Innistrad. I want a fixed assignment, which means it knows exactly each pocket for the alphabet. It's moderately played condition. I do want an email listing, and we are doing alphabetical sort. So, bam, we should be good to go. If that camera works right, we should be all ready to go and start getting production out of this machine. A little vacuum test. And over here should be measuring the heights of the card piles. And this is why it was important to get some slack on that cable. Oh, it's picking up multiples at the moment, so might have to adjust the vacuum on that, or the agitator. It doesn't look like it's doing its job. I could modify this a little bit. Let me see here. Yeah, see, it should be knocking those off, and it's not. So just adjust that couple clicks. The other reason why you want it squared is as that goes down, this stepper motor screw can stick out too far and hit on that chassis and can fuck shit up big time. There. Now it's properly bending the cord and knocking off the ones on the back. So it's just a few little tweaks, and you're not really going to learn that until you like actually start playing with the machine more and more and more. Okay, it's picking up the card. That's what I like about this machine. This one's nice and quiet. So, looks like our camera is working for the time being. And there's another way to find out here. You can just go to the logging. So we're gonna go right here, logging. And this gives you the kind of the up to the minute verification of everything. So it says matching card, so that's good, that's what you want. You have a problem when it says card not found, or camera calibration or whatever. That's when you know you got an issue. So this one's good to go. So I'm gonna probably stop the video right here. It's been a long-winded one. There's a lot of useful information in here for you who want to maintain, repair, and all that kind of sort of stuff, and do your own maintenance on things. So thank you for watching. But I think we're good to go. We're gonna start with the tweaking and updating of the next one.